I'm going to play some footage of a routine traffic stop, and I want you to pay close attention. See if you can spot the controversy here. After pulling the car over, the officer asks for the driver's license and registration.
I just need to see your driver's license and your vehicle registration.
He gives the driver the reason for pulling her over.
The reason I'm stopping you, I clocked you at 70. The speed limit here is 55.
He's polite with her while he returns to his computer system.
Just hold tight for a quick moment and I'll be right back, okay? Thanks.
He opts to ticket her for her speeding violation, explaining to her that her options are to pay the fine or appear in court.
Yeah, no warnings today, ma'am. So your court date is going to be June the 6th at 10:30 for the speeding of 70 and a 55. You have the option to prepay this. I'm going to give you a phone number plus a website that has our courthouse information. If you contact our courts, they will tell you what the fine is, answer any one of your questions, and if you decide to prepay it, then you do not have to come to court.
And after a brief battle, he explains she needs to sign her court summons or be arrested, and she opts to comply.
You do not have a choice but to sign the summons. So once again, you're signing right there. So thank you. I knew you were going to sign it. Thank you very much.
The officer wishes her a good day, and the two go their separate ways.
Appreciate it very much, and you have a very safe day. Okay? Thank you.
But did you catch it? It was subtle, and you may have missed it. It was the part where the cop was really racist and threatening.
I just was bullied by a racist cop who threatened to pull me out of a car in the middle of nowhere, where I could have been the next victim of police abuse with no repercussions. Could have happened very easily.
At least according to the ticketed woman, she immediately took to Facebook Live to describe herself as the victim of racially motivated police abuse and encouraged others to share the video and said she'd be filing a complaint with the police department.
If you are not African American and you are my friend, watch this whole video and share it and help end the racism that we go through every single day for no reason. I will make a complaint and file a complaint because I'm not going to pay that ticket.
And that's actually how the body cam footage we saw became public. The woman's name is Dawn Hilton-Willaims, and she was pulled over by that officer in Brunswick County, Virginia on April 27th. After the woman fanned racial flames on Facebook complaining of her ticketing, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office received numerous calls and messages with complaints and outrage. In response to those accusations of misconduct and outright racial abuse, the Sheriff's Department released that unedited footage of the traffic stop, and Miss Williams' case was shown to be entirely untrue. But let's have a look at her original Facebook stream. It's important to understand just how far from the facts these stories can stray. It shows us exactly why we shouldn't accept grandiose claims based only on hearsay, especially when that hearsay is coming from somebody who's hysterically emotional. Though as Miss Williams claims, that emotion is way out of character.
And I'm sorry that I'm upset, but I don't get upset too much, and I normally don't emote and become emotional on Facebook. That's not my personality type.
Right. Well, if you're not the type of person to be doing this, don't be the person doing this. She starts her stream immediately after the traffic stop. Ironic that the stop was for bad driving, and she leaves the stop playing on her phone while driving.
Hi everybody, this is Dawn. I'm driving. I typically would not drive and do a FaceTime video, but I am I'm in Virginia.
Now, to be fair, I don't know that live streaming while driving is actually illegal in Virginia. It's specifically illegal to text while driving, and it's illegal to read emails or text messages while driving. Legal or not, it's irresponsible driving, and the only real problem in this entire scenario is her inability to drive responsibly. But that's the one problem she never speaks to.
I just wish I knew what we could do about this.
I do know what you can do about this. Drive at legal speeds. Much of her complaints are claims to being treated differently as a black person.
Why do only African Americans and people of color know what I'm going through right now? Everybody I know that's African American has been through this at least one time. We're in such a rock and a hard place. You want to be strong and you want to fight against injustice, but then you also don't want to be dead. But when you're African American, you get pulled out of the car, you get shot, or you get tased, or you get Sandra Bland. If you're a woman.
And these claims stem mostly from a very loose interpretation of the facts. Her description of her speeding violation is quite generous.
I showed him my license, asked him why I was stopped, and he said that I was going 70 and a 65 or 60 and a some kind of small difference.
Yeah, I think she's just pretending not to know specifically there. I don't think that's an accident. That's a lie.
I clocked you at 70. Speed limit here is 55.
And the bulk of her case is her claim that the officer threatened to pull her from her car.
He said, "No, you'll need to sign the ticket." I said, "I don't agree. I didn't see a sign. I'll abide by the ticket, but I'm not going to put my signature on that ticket." And he said, well, if you don't put the signature on this ticket, I'll pull you out of the car and then I'll arrest you and I'll impound the car. And he looked like he was ready for me to pull me out of the car. He didn't say, I'll ask you to step out of the car. He said, I'll pull you out of the car and I'll arrest you and I'll impound your car.
Now, a few things about this characterization. First, she gets really technical about the officer's language, but her description isn't actually accurate. And second, she characterizes this as a threat rather than a choice. To the first point, she says the officer specifically threatened to pull her out of the car.
Sign that ticket or he's gonna pull me out of the car. Why would you threaten? Why would you have to pull me out of the car? I never said I wouldn't have stepped out of the car willingly.
Well, if we're going to get technical, he never said he would pull you out of the car either.
If you refuse to sign the summons at this point, I'm going to have to get you outside of the police car, outside of this car. I'm going to place you under arrest and take you in front of a magistrate. I will get your vehicle towed and go from there.
He said if she refuses to sign the court summons, he will have to get her out of the car for arrest. He never threatened to pull her out. But to the second point, it's not a threat to do anything. It's a choice. She says she has a right not to sign the ticket.
Because I have a right not to sign the ticket. I didn't say I wasn't going to comply. I said I don't think I need to sign that ticket.
And it's true, she does have a right not to sign the ticket, but the alternative is arrest. That's because what she's signing is a court summons, a functional replacement for bail during an arrest. The cop agrees to let her go on the promise that she will return later to resolve this legal issue. And as the officer says explicitly to her, signing the summons is not an admission of guilt. It's a commitment to resolve the issue later and not flee.
What you're signing here is a promise to either come to court or a promise to prepay. It's not an admission of guilt. It's only a promise to me that you're going to get it taken care of by either coming to court or prepaying it.
So the officer didn't say he would pull her out of the car, and even if he did, that was a clear alternative to a much easier option. But it gets weirder from here. Throughout her stream, she laments the fact that her traffic stop occurred in a place of historical slavery and other racial injustice.
And I just want to show you what area I'm in. This is the area I'm in the middle of this kind of stuff. This is where I am. So it's not like I'm not afraid. And I was in the middle of areas where I know there were tons of slaves. I was in the middle of areas where there were open fields of plowed areas. Because this is where we got lynched. This is where we got lynched. This is where even in today's day, even Freddie Gray, we can be in Baltimore. You don't have to be in a rural area.
Okay, so the location is actually irrelevant then? Well, it could have been in the southern slave fields of Virginia, or it could have been in the industrial urban centers of the North. It doesn't really matter. And if it doesn't matter, then why are you describing the history of the location? You know, one time I was pulled over by a cop here in Montana, and all I could think about were those brave white men killed on the battlefield of Custer's Last Stand on that fateful sunny day on the Montana prairies in June of 1876. And if that sounds ridiculous, that's because it is. But consider that event was more recent than slavery in America. But beyond the factual inaccuracies and the bizarre historical tangents, the worst part of her stream is the maligning of police officers.
It's all sick, crazy bullying, and the police are ridiculous. And I'm not even gonna generalize and say some police. I'm just gonna give it to, if you let your blue brother in arms treat any person like that and threaten to pull them out of the car just because they don't want to sign a ticket.
When you do that, when you outright lie about police officers, when you defame them, when you accuse them of misconduct and racism, even when they've done their jobs by the book, as the officer in this case did, you contribute to a culture of hostility between police and civilians. You don't alleviate it. Consider that an average of an officer a week has been killed on duty in this country this year, and that number doesn't even count non-fatal shootings and other attacks. Consider just a few weeks ago in Florida, where 2 officers were murdered in cold blood eating lunch at a Chinese restaurant. That's exactly the issue the Brunswick County Sheriff spoke to when releasing the body cam footage.
What I worry about is this would inflame other situations where you see cops in other states being executed while eating lunch.
Now, to some extent, that's the risk police officers take in putting on the badge and volunteering themselves to danger. But that's why we thank them. And that's why we respect them, and that's why we don't malign them. And I'm not saying this lady is directly responsible for harm to the police. She isn't, but she's contributing to a culture that is, and she's worsening the problem by worsening hostility among the community she claims to represent. And I'll even grant that troubles between police and the black community can be improved by effort on both sides. One side is a culture of police respect among civilians, and the other side is good training for good officers among police. But if if I'm a good guy police prospect, if I'm a morally upstanding man who wants to become a police officer for the right reasons to protect and serve my community on honorable, honest terms, why would I sign up for this abuse? Why would I sign up to have my reputation tarnished? Why would I sign up for undue danger beyond the danger I already accept? Why would I put my family through such difficulty when I could simply go do something else to provide for them? I wouldn't. Nonsense like this repels good police officers. It doesn't attract them. So if you want good, honest police officers, start by treating police officers well and honestly. And if you want to relieve hostilities, start by not injecting hostility based on outright lies. Anybody who cares about a good police-community relationship should condemn this damaging behavior, not just one side or the other. Her court date, according to the officer, is set for June 6th, and I hope she just pays her ticket without a fight. Do that, plus an apology, plus a steak dinner for this cop, and I'd call that good enough for my satisfaction. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.